sound in that poem can be seen inside the lines, in between the lines, not the end, nor the beginning. In between the lines, not the end, nor the beginning. The internal rhyme can also be called mid-rhyme. The internal rhyme can also be called mid-rhyme. You see, here we find the rhyme in the middle of lines. I do not fear what man can do. Listen to my line. You must answer me, 2 of you, or okay, 3 of you, or 7. I do not fear what man can do. I do not care if they hurt me. Here. Look at here. Look at here. Look at here. Look at, you can see the rhyme in the middle. Can you see it like that? Is it in the middle? Are they in the middle? Ignorant. You can see that the rhyme is not at the end, it's not at the beginning, but in the middle of the words. So we'll call it internal or mid-rhyme. The internal or mid-rhyme appears in the middle of words, not at the end of words, neither is it at the beginning of words. We have flashback. The flashback is a device. The flashback is a device used flashback is a device used to recall past or previous occurrences in a work of art. It's a device used to recall past or previous occurrences. The flashback is a device used to recall past or previous occurrences. Past or previous occurrences. Past or previous occurrences. That's the flashback. It's a device used to recall past or previous occurrences in a work of art. It can be in drama, it can be in prose, and it can be in poetry. Past or previous occurrences. That's the flashback. So the device used to recall past or previous occurrences. That's the flashback. The flashback is used to connect the story. The flashback is a very major technique employed in works of art. It can be employed in drama, in prose, and in poetry. It helps to make the reader, the audience, know what transpired earlier in the story. In a work of art, a narrator can recall what happened earlier in the story. The narrator can recall what happened earlier in the story. One. A character can also recall what happened earlier in the story. A character can also recall what happened earlier in the story. Character can also recall what happened earlier in the story. Character can also recall what happened earlier in the story. Character can also recall what happened earlier in the story. The flashback is so important because it helps us to know what happened earlier in the story. And this can be done either by the narrator or by some other characters in the story. Following me, can be done either by the narrator or some other characters in the story. Can be done either by the narrator or some other characters in the story. That's the slide. You can that. Now listen, the flashback is not just a dramatic technique. It can be used in drama. You can also see some poetry. Because if you look at this poem written by some of them, like C.S. Lewis, American poets, and also an English poet. He said, before coming to the palace, John was kind of here for a journey. And such a long journey, weighty and weather sharp, the very day of winter. And camels were talking to the factory, lying on the earth, there was time when the great someone was on slow. The terrorists, and taking care of the future, that is bad. You have to recall what had happened earlier in the book. Before coming to the house of faith. Before coming to the house, so that's the point. That means in point two, you can see flatter. Young, in clothes, they can flatter. In drama, they can flatter. So, that is the general instruction. Talk about enlightened person, it can be easy for you to appreciate anything when you arrive. The point of faith concerning literal return is easy for you to understand. Now let's talk to heroine. The heroine is the main male character in a work of art. The main female character in a work of art. The heroine is the main female character in a work of art. If you look at Let Me Die Alone by John Colosa Cabo, Madame Yoko, the heroine in the story. He said, even if we are saying some characters can flash around, the heroine can never be a minor character. The usually major character. What? Anything that happens in the story must revolve around them. You see, the main character in this story, Let Me Die Alone. So the heroine, the main female character in a work of art. Look at the clown. The clown is also called a jester. The clown is also called a jester. The clown is a character whose aim is to amuse the audience, is to amuse readers. The clown has a function of making readers laugh, making the audience laugh. The clown is a very funny character that amuses the audience. Take note of that one. Then we look at acts. That is ACTS. Act has two different meanings in literature. Act can mean to perform. You know, drama is incomplete without acting. And that's where the word action came from. You know, when you act. That's what, by the time you act, you have done nothing else by performing an action, but performing an action. Acting means action. Action means acting. Are you still there? So, when you act, you perform an action because drama is the impersonation, imitation, and presentation of other people's character on stage for the audience. Drama is the impersonation, imitation, and presentation of other people's character on stage for the audience. The impersonation, imitation, and presentation of other people's character on stage for the audience. That is drama. You understand? So now, every drama involves acting. And now look at the word acts. This acts here is very clear. It is used to talk about the division of a play into parts, to make it easy for you to read. If you don't bring a play, just big one, no, you will find it difficult to understand, to enjoy this story. So the author, the playwright, has to break it down in beats, break it down in beats. So the drama has divisions. Drama is broken down into acts and scene. Prose broken down into chapters and paragraphs. Poetry broken down into stanzas and lines. Have you seen that? Drama broken down into acts and scene. Prose broken down into chapters and paragraphs. Poetry broken down into stanzas and lines. Take note of that. Drama, act and scene. You see it? Prose, chapters and paragraphs. Poetry, lines and stanzas. Don't forget that. Then we move on to the next one. Let's look at rhetorical question. In literature, rhetorical question, we can take two meanings out of this. Rhetorical question is any question that you see in poetry. Any question that you see in poetry, one. Any question that you come across in literature, in any literary work, is rhetorical question. That is one. Then secondly, rhetorical question is this question that can never be answered. You don't know the answer to give to it. When they present that question before you, such question, you cannot answer it. For instance, if you go to the Bible, there's a question asked. It's a death. Where is thy sting? You cannot provide answer to that question. The world is not too friendly to you. Say, Earth, why are you doing this to me? You cannot get an answer. You see, you lost a loved one. And you go to the grave and say, Mother, why have you abandoned me? Why did you abandon me? You cannot get an answer. These are rhetorical questions. But in poetry, in literature in general, any question is rhetorical. Because if you look at them, Lade was on this poem. Lade was on this poem, talking about trader of the treasure trove. You hear things like, but what's the worthy of your life? That is what is so important to you. What can we give to you that can make us take life? There's an answer to it. And the answer is nothing, according to the poet. Question 2, what dearer than the gems of rain? What is more dear to you? What is closer to you than your dreams? Nothing. Question 3, the reason you are here. Why are you here on earth? You should have your own reason. Some of you are here to make money. Some of you are here to buy food. Some of you are here to build houses. Come on, those are silly reasons. The poet says, the reason you are here, you did not supply answer, but it says, always strive to fly flags of joy. You are here to make your next door neighbor experience joy of time. Always strive flags of joy and sail streams of love. You see, make sure any step your foot, you show love. Your cause started the ink of compassion. Be compassionate at all times. And fling roses wherever you pause. Just spread endless kindness. Heaven on earth, your destination. Make sure before you leave this earth, let the next person experience heaven on earth. That's hyperbole. We know it's not easy, but do it. So look at those questions. Rhetorical question, any question you find in literature, again, any question that cannot be easily answered, cannot even be answered. This question, when will the world come to an end? That's rhetorical question. That's rhetorical question. Look at the next one, the next literary term we are working on. Look at consonance. Consonance. Consonance is a figurative device, basically a figure of sound. In literature, especially in poetry, we use consonance when there is repetition of the consonant sound in the middle of words in a statement. Repetition of the same consonant sound in the middle of words in a statement. Repetition of the same consonant sound in the middle of words in a statement. Look at these. Look at this. Let's take this one quick. When Ben met Ken. See that? When Ben met Ken. Look at this. When Ben met Ken. You can see that line. Okay, these are consonants, but let's take my consonants. Whittle's little beetle. Look at this.